What's up, beautiful people, and welcome to the R&D show. It's your boy, Sean. Hopefully y'all feeling blessed and highly favored on this Thursday. I wanted to jump in and, talk about a few things. I'm gonna jump right in it. So the last video I said that I was doing a 40-day fast. And during this fast, I've been reading the book of Corinthians, so the second chapter, Corinthians. And we'll get into all of that. But yeah, so I've been reading the second chapter of Corinthians, and I've read it before, but it's been a while. So I'm back reading it again, and I'm almost toward the end. So y'all heard about Marvin Sapp, and I'm pretty sure you've seen the viral video of him. You know what? Let me just play it for you, and we'll talk.
Understand the cost that is involved. There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. It's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. Now, everyone up here, we've all sowed and seeded, but I need everyone standing up here with us, with me, to plant a seed of $100. Because again, it costs to sit up here. And this is what I need you to do. If you're giving electronically, or even if you're giving tangibly, I'm going to have y'all come to the altar and give it, because I need to see 1,000 people moving. Bring them baskets. I want the baskets up here. I want to see the folk. Y'all start moving. Y'all can bring it right now. Come. 1,000 people need to give $20. 1,000 people need to give $20. 1,000 people online need to give $20. This is easy, saints. And they understand the cost that is involved. There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors.
All right. So I've talked about how I feel. First of all, I grew up Church of God in Christ. And I grew up with religion and not relationship or spirituality, just strict religion, and giving and offering and building fund and tithing and pastor's love offering and missionary offering and all these different offerings was something that was pushed. And it was kind of sometimes aggressively pushed because you felt like if you didn't give, God wouldn't bless you. All right, so that was all those many years ago. I then created my own relationship with Christ and got a better understanding of my relationship with God in general, and realized that giving is an opportunity for me to be blessed. And not only that, there's different ways to give. And I'll get into that. So looking at that video has sparked outrage from a lot of people, and also raised red flags for myself, because I feel like, one, you're holding people hostage to give. Two, you're manipulating people by saying that that's an easy blessing or an easy miracle, whatever the case may be, but they have to give the 20. A lot of times you hear in churches that, I know there's 500 people in here that can give $100. Oh, don't block your blessing. If you better give that $100. You better give that $100. You're not going to be blessed. So it's interesting because, like I said, I'm actually reading the book of 2 Corinthians. And this was probably at the top of this week. Now, this is what I already know, what the scripture says, but I want to read it. Sowing generously. This is 2 Corinthians 9:6. Remember this, whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. And whoever sows generously will also reap generously. Each man should give what he has decided in his heart to give, not reluctantly, under compulsion. For God loves a cheerful giver, not under compulsion, not under stress, not under being bullied or being forced or manipulated into you have to. You have to. You have to. Or this won't happen. Or this will happen. Marvin Sapp, and now mind you, I don't have an issue with Marvin Sapp. I think he's an amazing singer. But he just further, he further reiterates the things that I've been saying about pastors being spiritual motivational speakers. And that's it. A lot of people look at pastors as being, next to God, or they are a God, and so they kind of worship them. But you have to understand, this is just a man, and that's his flesh. And that's it. The difference is he's been gifted to be a spiritual motivational speaker, to, encourage and to provide spiritual tools and knowledge and things of that nature. And then he has a voice, God has blessed him with a voice to sing the gospel music, which is amazing. But what he did at that church was a prime example of why people feel like pastors are nothing but pimps, hustlers, and scammers. What they used to call them pulpit pimps. A lot of people don't go because they feel like, oh no, I'm not going to be pimped by the pulpit pimps, because that's what that feels like. For you to be aggressive in locking the doors, holding people hostage, don't move, you need to give $20. We need to raise $40,000 right now. The people up here have already, excuse me, sir. I'm not here to make anybody rich on tonight. That's not what I'm doing. I came into the house of the Lord because I needed a word for me, or I needed a blessing, or I needed to release, or I needed to feel closer to God, whatever the case may be. I did not come here to be a part of making anybody rich. And sometimes that's what it feels like. Sometimes it feels like, okay, you're giving. They're pressing that you're giving. They're bullying that you're giving. You have to give. And if you don't, God won't bless you. God won't speak to you. You won't be healed. The things that you pray for won't come true. Like all of these things, it's a massive manipulation at its finest, and it's not okay. It's not okay. And what I've been teaching people is there's different ways to give your offering. I feel like there's so many different ways to give offering, because it's giving of thyself in general. Whether you're giving to the homeless, or you're feeding the homeless, or, you are donating your time, you're doing community service, you're blessing someone else with a financial seed. There are so many different ways I feel like that you are giving of yourself, which is an opportunity for you to be blessed by God. It does not always have to be financially. Your offering up to God does not always have to be financially. Your offering can be in other ways of giving good services unto other people, of being value and love and light in somebody's life, uplifting and encouraging and, supporting. There's other ways of giving, and not feeling like if I don't have $20, $100, $500, God is not going to bless me. Do not believe the hype. That is not how God works. That is not how your blessing is going to work. But it sounds good, and it's enough to manipulate the mind and make you think, oh, if I don't, it's not going to happen because Marvin Sapp said it. We have got to stop the narrative of giving and offering, and this is the only way for you to reach a higher or a closer or a deeper connection and or a blessing from God. We've got to stop that. That is spiritual manipulation at its finest. You are being a spiritual narcissistic individual, and that is not okay. That's not okay. We have got to do better. Marvin Sapp, I think that you're amazing at what you do, but shame on you. Shame on you for thinking that this behavior is okay. It's not okay. It's not okay from stopping people who want to leave at this part of the service, like they've heard and they've seen enough and they're ready to go. Oh no, close the door, lock the door. That's not okay. That's just not okay. because you wouldn't want that done to you. Think about if you were doing a concert or whatever, and the people say, "Oh no, lock the door. I paid my money," or whatever the case may be, or "I came to get a blessing. I ain't got it yet. He ain't even sung my song yet," and lock the door. You'd be going crazy and raising hell up in that thing. Security, police, whatever you have to do. So what you did is not okay. And clearly, there's thousands and thousands of people that agree that what you have done is not okay. And what many pastors do, you can go into a Sunday service at maybe a mega church or a well-established church, and they hustle you. They make you feel guilty. They'll guilt trip you into even giving your last. Sometimes these people only have enough for their light bill, and you're making them feel less than because if they don't give that last 20 or that they won't be blessed. That's just not how that works. And I'm so sorry that we've been conditioned and brainwashed over decades and decades and decades. And I'm just going to say this, as Black people, as a culture, believing that this is okay. That's not okay. And I feel like we're now reaching a pivotal point in life where there's a new generation that is making it known that that's not okay. Changing the narrative, being the change that we want to see by speaking up and speaking out against things of this nature. So you should be giving generously because you want to, because you already have made up in your heart what you want to give, because that's what you have to give. And sometimes you just gotta, God knows my heart type of day. I have nothing to give but myself being in the presence of the Lord, but crying out, or whatever the case may be in that moment. But like I said, your offering can be done in so many different ways. That does not always have to equate to your digging in your pockets. It doesn't always have to equate to that. So let me know how y'all feel about, what Marvin Sapp did and what he said. Those are my strong sentiments. And again, this is coming from someone that I still go to church. Right now I still go to church, like I said. And I grew up Church of God in Christ. So I know all about this, and I'm not condemning anyone or bashing him. I'm just simply holding him accountable and saying that's not okay, because it's just not okay. So yeah, let me know what y'all think about that, how y'all feel. All right, so moving on. So there's this girl that posts something on Facebook, and I want y'all honest opinion. She said, every time I get a man, I get depressed, even if the relationship is healthy. Then she goes on to explain, I like my freedom, and not in like a whole type of way. Freedom to watch what I want to watch, to eat, to wear, to listen, and do whatever I want, whenever I want. Not the freedom to go and have sex with, all these people. Freedom to stay at the gym for 4 hours or go overnight without having someone worried about me. She says, I can communicate it. And in my last relationship, I had all the space I wanted. But unfortunately, I'm the type that I might want to go some days without seeing you, or I might want to not text you for some days. And obviously, when you're living with someone and committed, that's not possible. That's where the problem starts. I like not having to answer to nobody. I like not having to have these expectations placed on me. I like not having to compromise on anything. I like not having to consider someone else's feelings with every decision I make. If something goes wrong in my life, I have nobody to blame but myself, and I like that. I don't like catering to a man. I really only enjoy catering to myself. So relationships feel like a chore. And last but not least, I like never being told what to do or given suggestions on what I should do. When you're single, your life is your life. So I read that and I processed it a little bit. And honestly, I don't feel like she's wrong. I don't feel like she's right. What I do feel like is two things can be true. I feel like being in a relationship, and I'm talking now because I think traditionally what relationships isn't the same today. We are a totally different type of generation. We relationship differently. Our minds are built differently. we move differently, and we do not believe in the ways that I feel like so many of our parents, aunties, uncles, grandparents, great-great-grandparents, so on and so forth, were conditioned to believe that this is what a relationship should be and look like. We've moved past that narrative and started creating relationships that are best for us, are creating the relationship that you want, that makes you happy. I feel like that's where we're at now. And I say two things can be true, because being in a relationship can be depressing. And not that it's depressing in like a terrible way. I think you have your highs and your lows. Why do I say that? I feel like, yes, it's amazing to have this partnership, to have someone that you feel like you're going to do life with, and someone that loves you and you love them back, and so on and so forth. But then you do have your days where you feel like the expectation is too much. The demand is too much. The moments of control can be too much. The moments of feeling like I can't have no me time. I barely have friends. I don't even go out much. When I move, you move type of situation. Sometimes that can be overwhelming for people. And it's not that the relationship is bad or the significant other is not a good person. It's just that sometimes it can be overwhelming and too much which can ultimately can cause you to feel depressed at times. I call it intermittent depression, because it's not always, but you can have your moments where you're feeling depressed. Like you just want to get on a plane and take 5 days to yourself at maybe a resort or wherever, and feel like you can just really breathe and relax. And again, not to, go and have sex with someone else or talk to someone else, but really not have to feel like a relationship has you in bondage and chains. So I get what she's saying, because I do feel that's a reason why a lot of relationships fail, is that expectation and that pressure of showing up in that relationship as this perfect, well put together, I can do this, it's not bothering me, I don't feel like there's this expectations, I don't feel like bad because I'm compromising, even if a lot of times people sometimes they're not honest, and when you're not honest in your relationship, it causes you first to feel some type of way, and then slowly but surely your relationship starts to feel that. And so that's the one thing that's true about what she's saying. But then on the other side of that, this is why having conversations, uncomfortable conversations, to have a comfortable relationship is important. Expressing these things to your significant other about the things that you're not okay with. Maybe you're not okay with that expectation of doing this, that, and the other, and having to call every 5 minutes, or, having to tell somebody where you're going, or how long you're going to be gone, or having to check in. Maybe you're not okay with having to do these things, and it becomes a routine, and you start to feel burned out. Having the conversation to also create that balance for yourself, those breaks for yourself, and most importantly, those boundaries, is so important. And I know sometimes it can be difficult, but I think in the very beginning, it's always a good idea to have the tough conversation to see if you're even compatible in that manner. Because it's not always about having somebody that likes it, because we're not going to like everything. We're not the same people. But it's about having somebody that at least understands it. And because they understand you and they understand it, it's not an issue. You're not fussing and you're not fighting. You're not going through the rigmarole of the roller coaster ride of ups and downs, and you're in and out, because you've already created the foundation of how you want a relationship with this person. I feel like nobody should have to feel like they're trapped in a closet or in a cell in a relationship, or in a marriage or friendship or familyship, whatever it is. You should never have to feel like you're held hostage in this situation. And that's what that sounds like. It sounds like she feels like when I get in a relationship, I'm pretty much a prisoner. I'm held hostage. And it's not that the person is a terrible person, but these expectations, I feel like I have to live up to something that I can't live up to because I don't want to. Because that's not who I am at the end of the day. And that's okay. It's okay to be honest. It's okay to express who you are in this phase of your life. Maybe you were like that before and it just did not work out for you. It didn't work out. Because maybe you experienced a terrible heartbreak when you gave so much and you did all those things, or you were in a domestic violence situation, or you were in a narcissistic situation, or a massive, whatever it was, it just didn't work. And you no longer want to govern yourself that way in another relationship, and that's okay. Because as long as you've done the healing, you've taken the time to figure out who you are as a person and what you want for yourself and out of a relationship, then it is okay to have the conversation to let someone know where you're at when it comes to dating, where you're at when it comes to being in a relationship, where you're at when it comes to marriage, a friendship, a familyship, where you're at this present day in your life, and what works for you and what may have worked for you 10 years ago may not work in 2025, and that's okay. We give people permission as to how to treat us. If I didn't give you permission to do those things, then that's not okay with me. Which is why I go back to saying sometimes you have to have that conversation and just say, hey, I don't want to be in a relationship that makes me feel like I'm a kid. Because that's just sometimes that's what it is. Like, you know, we tell our children that they need to tell us where they're going, who they're going to be with, when they're going to be back. When I call you, pick up the phone. Make sure you do this, you do that. You know, all of these different things, wear this, wear that. Oh, don't go there, go here. You know, that's not your, like all of these things because we're raising a child. So that's so different. You can't raise an adult. You can't raise your significant other. So you can't have an expectation that they have to do what you want them to do because this is what's important to you. But what's important to them may not be the same thing that's important to you. That don't mean that it has to be disrespectful. That doesn't mean that it has to be violent or angry. It just means that we don't share the same type of importance. What's important to you isn't the same to me, and that's okay. So how do we find a way to be like, okay, we can meet in the middle, or maybe this just isn't working or it won't work. But a lot of times that's the easy way out because people feel like it's their way or no way. How about you allow individuals to be individuals and we do it our way? What's healthy and happy to us? Because I can easily give in and do it your way and it makes me not happy. I won't show up as my full, happy, and best self. I won't be able to give 1,000% because I'm doing everything what's expected of me from your way. Because that's what makes you happy. Because that's what's going to keep you from wanting to argue, fuss and fight, and create issues. So I'm going to do it your way. That creates burnout. That slowly but surely starts to create depression. That makes somebody feel like, okay, being single was so much easier. I didn't have to answer to nobody. I got to have fun when I wanted to have fun. I got to do the things that I wanted to do. And this does not mean being a hoe. It don't mean getting sloppy drunk. It don't mean, doing things that, having this crazy behavior. That's not what that means. That's not what I'm alluding to. Not everybody is set up that way. But sometimes you have so much peace. You have so much peace that passes all understanding when it's just me, myself, and I. And you don't want nobody to come in. See, what I used to say when I was dating and things of that nature was, there's no competition. There's nobody that's your competition. You're only competing with my comfort zone and my peace. Because I'm presenting to you a man that is whole, that is in peace, not in pieces, that is comfortable being single, that's comfortable being a full-time single dad. I pay my own bills. I go to work every day. My son lives a good life. I live a good life. I make things happen so that he does not have to want and or need anything. So I don't need you and I don't want you to need me. But if it just so happens that we create a relationship, and one more thing, I'm not here to make you happy and you're not here to make me happy. We are responsible for our own happiness and we get to come together and share happiness together. But being in a relationship is privilege. And a relationship is not a compromise. It's to be earned. I don't want to compromise this, that, and the other. Things to me have to be earned. Because again, I feel like when you're compromising, you're really giving up what you really believe, what's truly important to you, what those values are for you. You're giving those things up to please someone else. But how about they earn those things and you earn those things as well? So again, two things can be true about being in a relationship and feeling depressed, and then being single and just, having this fun single life and being whole and being peace. And then there's also you being in a relationship and it can be amazing, but that doesn't mean that it's amazing every single day. There's still going to be highs and lows, ebbs and flows, a roller coaster ride, because we are unique individuals. No two people are the same. So our thought process, the way that we move and govern ourselves, our likes and dislikes, things are going to be our mental capacity, our intellectual abilities, things are going to move and be different because our backgrounds are different. And our backgrounds have influenced who we are. And even though we're responsible for who we become, we're still influenced by some things. And if we learn and we've grown, a majority of that influence should be so positive because we used it as a stepping stone. We've used it as a positive and not a negative in general to create the best versions of ourselves to present. And so I just wanted to share all that. Let me know what y'all think. I know that I kind of went on for 40 days and 40 nights about a few things, but these two topics I felt like were something that needed to be discussed. And I would love for y'all to chime in and let me know your thoughts and your feelings about Pastor Marvin Sapp and this offering and this hostage situation. And also, being in a relationship and feeling depressed and just feeling like it's such a huge expectation. But on the flip side of that, it can be so beautiful and an amazing thing if you make it that way, because you have to create the experience that you want, right? So drop down in the comments, share this video, like this video, and subscribe if you're new here. Welcome to the R&D show. And we'll be back again. Till next time, take care of yourself and each other. God bless you. Peace.